Hello all and welcome to the Mug Life DIY. I am Julia and I am so excited that you decided to stop by my channel. So today I am just going to be doing one really fun project for you. I'm going to be making a larger scale of a vintage truck that I made last fall. I made a little small black one and I used it for fall, Halloween. I've even used it for Christmas and it's just one of my favorite staple pieces. Now, for many of you guys that love all of my truck crafts, this one is perfect for you. We're gonna just make a larger scale of some of our other truck truck crate craft. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take two of these Dollar Tree forms, which I have found them year round, which is really cool now. And we're just going to be taking off one of the little truck wood, what are we going to call these? 3D, those little wood pieces that pop out. You are going to take all of them off. Now, what worked best for me is I I used my heat gun, heated up my little scraper tool, and kind of just slowly shimmied off the glue on that piece. Now, we had to take that off because when you're making the 3-dimension, you have to re-glue and flip them over. So I'm actually reusing a couple of pieces of these little crates from other projects that either my kids broke or, just had them laying around. Believe this little square cube one is like a pencil holder and I've had it for I don't even know how long. So I just glued that to the front section and then just used two of my little Dollar Tree tumbling towers and attached that because I just need it to fill out my form and just to give it some stability. So that's why I just ended up using the crate in the back to mimic the back bedside of a truck, and the front is going to be covered. So I didn't really worry so much about the front. Now, remember how I told you we have to re-glue the pieces. Now, at first I was like, what? Why isn't the front piece like fitting? Well, the front piece that I thought was the front is actually the back. So all I had to do was just flip it over and glue it down. Same with the front little fender. And also the little, it's like a wooden section up at the top, that part. So I had to glue that down too. Now, because when I scraped it off, it did have some rough edges. So I had to use my sanding block and kind of smooth over those edges. Now, if you go a little bit slower, I'm not very slow or patient with my crafts. So I definitely had some little wood pieces fraying everywhere. So I just had to take an extra step and sand everything down after I glued it in place. Now, normally my favorite step of these truck crafts that I make for you guys is always adding the embellishments. Like these little extra pieces always are my favorite part. So I'm just taking some Dollar Tree dowels and I'm going to make a little faux running board down at the bottom of the truck. So I just used my hot glue gun and just lightly glued that on both sides. Now, whatever we do to one side, you will just always want to do the other side because my truck is going to be it's going to be seen all the way around. It's not going to just be one-sided. Now, I'm just using some leftover scrap cardboard that, I keep because I'm like, hey, this is good cardboard. Anyone else? You're like, that's good crafting cardboard? Okay. Well, this is my first attempt, and I'm going to be real, y'all, at measuring. I was quite proud of myself. Normally, I am the worst at measuring and being super precise, but I was determined. This craft was going to be precise, y'all. So I just took one of my cereal boxes that I have to buy 1,000 of for my kids every week, and I just cut it apart. I love using cereal boxes because of the thickness of the cardboard. It bends and crafts so amazingly well. I love using it. It's not a very thick cardboard, but I'm not worried about that, y'all. You'll see the end project. It's wonderful. Now, that little flap at the bottom side, which I believe is like the top of the cereal box, was perfect because that is going to be the front of our truck. So it already being bent worked out great for me. Now, I did add another little curve just to create the front curvature of the truck. And then I just had to That's right, glue it all down into place. Now, I forgot to charge my glue gun, so it did, I am the worst. I need a big old like sign right in front of me that says charge your glue guns. Like, so bad about the batteries. So it does eventually die. I have to use another one. But I love this fine point. I used it in a couple of videos ago. I was sent a fine point wireless, really lightweight glue gun, which I like because I have carpal tunnel, so it's perfect for me. Now, for the little front grill section, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I just ended up going with using craft sticks. Now, these are like the smallest ones that you can find at Dollar Tree, and I just cut off the rounded edges, and then I just start gluing all the way around up until that little headlight section that kind of bulks off of the truck. And then I just glue all of those little craft sticks to the front. All right, now we're going to start working and building out the body of our little truck bed, or the front, the cab. Wow. Okay. We're going to start working out and covering the entire little section of our frame. So in order to do that, I am just using another part of this wonderful Cinnamon Toast Crunch box, which I kind of laugh at myself at the very end because one of the little Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like the eyeballs, like the face, it kind of like sticks out. And I was giggling when I was painting it because I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I'll tell y'all when I do it. But what I did was I actually cut out 2 separate pieces to kind of cover up the bed. I wanted it to be completely separate from the truck bed. So I cut down a piece of cardboard first, and you can see here, I just glued it to kind of mimic the backside of the truck bed. Now, because I feel like these truck crates are larger than what they used to be, or maybe like the wooden piece is smaller, like the truck frame. I don't know. I feel like another truck crate I did a long time ago, I didn't have this problem. Like, you see how the little wooden crate is a little bit too long. It goes into the truck bed or the cab. It was bothering me. So that's why I'm doing this little extra step of adding some cardboard to kind of make it look like the crate is not as large as it is, you know? So then I cut a little back window, which I rounded out the edges because these trucks kind of always remind me of a vintage truck. Now it kind of has, I'm gonna say an 80s bod. Like the square front reminds me of an 80s Ford, but yet the fenders and everything kind of remind me of a 50s pickup. So I don't know. And I'm gonna say a Chevy. So this truck doesn't know what it is. It is a hodgepodge of truck nostalgia. So, you know, it makes me happy and I love decorating with them. And if you like decorating with crafts too, this is all the way up your alley. So because I cut that little back window hole, I just made it really small. I began gluing that little top section all the way to the front of the hood. Now, I just wanted to beef it up a little bit, and it worked out perfectly with the measurement that it goes all the way down to where the truck, like the hood latch, would open. And I just thought it looked really streamlined, so I was really happy with how that ended up measuring out perfectly for my large cereal box. Now, next thing that I have to do is cut out my little front window. Now, I'm obsessed with this little straight razor, I don't feel like that's the right word, but this little Cricut tool is like my best friend when I'm doing like any of my little more detail work. So it worked out amazing. So I just kind of, see the little person? Oh, did you guys see it? I feel like I should like pause it. The little Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And now tell me why that was like the hardest part. Getting the part that I cut out of the little inside. Like my hand was too large to try to fish it out. And I just kind of covered and added a little bit of extra glue around all the edges. Now, I wasn't too worried about the buildup of the glue because I want this truck to look like it is metal. And whenever you find these like little metal trucks at stores, Target, Walmart, you know, all these other high-end way nicer than Walmart and Target, they look like they are welded together. So the glue looks like a weld, so don't worry about that. Now, adding some more dowels just to finish it out on the front hood section and on that back window. I added 2 more little dowels. These are the thicker ones. They're not quite the chopsticks. I believe they actually are the craft dowels that I am using. And of course, where would we be if we did not have some wipers? So I'm just going to use some toothpicks, cutting them down and kind of just roughly measuring out the size of what 2 little wiper blades would look like. And then I just kind of shimmy them in with a whole lot of hot glue. And I did have to hold it for a few seconds just to let it set up, but it wasn't too hard. And I think that one little extra touch with the extra details really adds to your truck craft. Now, on this new little wooden truck, I wasn't a fan of the little cutout that it has along the door. Now, I do realize not all of these trucks look the same. So with this specific one, not all of them have that little cutout, but I'm going to add some little dowels just to mimic the door frame and that connection point. So I just grabbed some more of my little dowels and hot glued them to the back side to mimic my entire door frame. Then I just took some little scrap cereal box cardboard, that was the word, and then I just kind of added a little bit of a bump out for the front section of the door, and one side it was literally just a scrap piece of cardboard, and the other one I did have to just kind of roughly sketch it out, and then I cut it out and placed it on. Now, as I have said many times, these extra details really add to your truck. You won't even like notice that it is cardboard after it is painted. So the extra wood, the cardboard, whatever you have on hand. I love crafting with just random items that, I can recycle and reuse. It's always fun to see what you have in your stash and getting extra creative with it. Now, I had some of this textured Rust-Oleum spray paint left over from another project. So that was the spray paint that I used. And I really I love how it textured the truck. The only problem with the spray paint is I couldn't quite get all of the inside little details to be completely covered with the spray paint. I love the texture that it adds and that dimpling effect with the hammered, but my only downside is I still had to go back in with my black craft paint and I had to touch up a lot of the truck. So maybe if I did 2 or 3 coats of my spray paint, I maybe wouldn't have had this issue, but I just did 1 coat because 1, I am super lazy and I like to craft quickly, and I was doing it at night, and spray painting at night, that's never fun, guys, So that's why I only did 1 coat. And to add a little bit of that wood detail to that back section, I'm just taking some of my taupey kind of brown woodish, wow. Yep, I'm going with that woodish color, and I'm going to paint that back side. I was originally looking for my brown, but could not find it. My house is a hot mess right now with, trying to finish some other home projects before my husband gets home from deployment. But, I will get my craft supplies one day organized, craft hoarder messers unite. Okay, no, it's so bad. But, I will push through. I will get some more projects out to you guys, so fear not. So I just painted that little back section, and as I said, let's work on some other little smaller details. And I don't think of a rusty old vintage truck without adding a lot of rust. So I'm taking that bronze acrylic paint and just adding a few little details where I know my truck rust the worst. All of those little places, I just add a little bit of a stippling effect And then I'm going to also add the cinnamon and sprinkle it on top. I love using this. I will have my truck playlist listed down below. So if you guys have not seen all of my thousands of other truck crafts, you can get lots of inspiration and see how I have trucks for all seasons and trucks for days. So I'm going on to the hood, doing the same little detail around all of where the hinges would be, or where the hood and the sun gets a lot of exposure and a lot of rust. So I'm just having some fun with it, adding a whole bunch and dumping that cinnamon on, and you know, it's just a lot of fun. Plus, it smells great. And one thing that I am going to have to go back and add to my lovely little black truck is I did not put mirrors, okay? I didn't even notice it until just now. So I'm going to have to add some little mirrors shortly, and maybe I'll post a picture on my Instagram of, you know, the added mirrors. It's, you know, it is what it is. It turned out adorable. I think it's cute. I just forgot the mirrors. So last finishing touch of our cute little truck is the hubcaps. I love using my little hubcaps. So what I use is just beer bottle caps and just glue those down to all 4 of my wheels. And here you go. It's so cute. I am obsessed with this little truck. I think he turned out adorable, other than, hey, I will go back. I will add those little mirrors because we have wipers. I mean, we need mirrors, right? And I also used some little buttons for my little front mirrors because I think that's adorable, adding all of those little special things. And I added some of my little leather Dollar Tree pumpkins because I think that turned out adorable. I hope you guys love this truck craft, get lots of inspiration, and I'll see you next time.